I'm Phaedra.
And I'm Sophie.
And this is My Best View.
Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
My best view this week is actually using my epilator for the first time that I bought a couple months ago. Tried to use once and I was like, ow! So I didn't use it after that. And I was like, you know what? I spent $100 on this. Let me give this a shot. And it works really well, but it is the most painful thing I've ever used.
We are so in sync because I also got on the epilator train this year and hate it, but I do also love it at the same time.
The price of buying this machine one time is the exact same as going and getting a wax done.
I know. It has to work. So you just economically have to make it work. I know.
Yes. It is 1,000 little tweezers going all at once. So it is exactly as painful as you'd expect. But you know what? If you don't have a ton of cash at the moment, I think it's a good investment. It's just a mind game. You know what I mean? Maybe just get a little bit drunk and do it at 11 p.m. You'll be hair free.
I just want to say I genuinely have had the experience multiple times of drinking a glass of wine and watching Love Island while epilating. It is a vibe.
That's so wise. I'm watching Love Island with my mom every evening, which is incredible. Wish that you were here with us doing it. But she told me that she's like, no, I simply have to be being productive a little bit while doing it because I can't be doing this an hour every single night this week without doing anything. And so she's been doing her skincare. So I'll just turn around and look at her and she has her fucking red light therapy mask on. I'm like, oh my God, it's so scary, but God bless. She's being productive.
I agree though. That show is actually a part-time job. So.
And Sophie, what was your best view this week?
Well, I was very excited for my best view to be my fully renovated apartment, meaning that we could move back to our apartment after 6 months in this buck-ass village. Unfortunately, due to unspecified reasons, it's now delayed 2 more months.
Awesome.
So I'm really trying to just lean into little micro good views here.
Yeah, in the village.
I had a very cute interaction with my 4-year-old neighbor, which will just have to count as my best view this week since nothing else happened to me. Which was, he's this super friendly little kid. And I was walking down the street. He saw me. He said, hello. I said, hello. And then I asked him what he was up to because he was kind of in a tree. And he said, I'm pretending this tree is my house. And I said, wow, I love your house. What room are you in right now? He said, I'm not in a room. I'm in a tree. I'm just pretending.
Like you're the idiot.
Fucking hate Germans. I was like, oh, yeah, I know. I was just participating. But
I thought we were playing.
You're the one who said it was a house, but okay. I know he went and told his parents, God, our neighbor's fucking dumb. Anyway, but it provided me a moment of joy, despite also, managing to be policed by a 4-year-old. So anyway, so let's begin with our analysis, shall we?
Oh, let's get into it.
So this week we're going to start with Ashia and Maxwell, who were only briefly featured, but there were some real highlights, I thought. As a reminder, Ashia is traveling to Nigeria to meet Maxwell to decide what they're going to do now that their K1 was rejected. So her friend Brianna comes to pick her up to drive her to the airport. Side note, she's still packing. If I went to pick someone up to drive them to the airport and they're still packing, I would literally get in my car and leave.
Yeah, call me when you're done.
What? Anyway. And Brianna is doing her job as a skeptical friend on the show. And she's like, yeah, I'm not sure if you guys should get married because you don't know each other. So maybe it would be good to do the K1 again. And,
And it's a good point.
And then there's this amazing moment where Brianna was trying to understand why the visa was denied. So she said, what's the legitimate reason for real for them to deny you? And Ashia says, they said fraud.
Oh.
And Brianna goes, oh, how can you overcome fraud? And it cuts to an interview with Ashia and she goes, this is not the energy I need right now. People just reacting to the actual events that have occurred.
It's so funny because on camera so far, no one in her life has been just a straight up hater. People are just like, oh, well, here's a logical point about the situation and how I have some doubts about it. And Aisha's like, get that negative energy away from me. It's like, it's not negative energy. It's not the devil slipping in. It's just facts.
When the lawyer was like, yeah, there is no appeals process. And she's like, wow, that's so negative. And it's like, well,
she's like, I won't accept this. And it's like reality? I don't know what to tell you. Me getting an F in high school, and I'm like, that's the devil slipped in. I don't accept this.
This negativity. They're in the car at this point to the airport, and keep in mind, Ashia's mom, Juliet, is coming with her. She's sitting in the back seat.
Love. She looked like a really adorable, beautiful turtle because she had this little green jacket, and she kind of is a little bit hunched over because she's kind of like an older lady, and she just looked like a really adorable little turtle. I truly mean that in the highest regard, but she was so cutie pie to me.
I didn't get turtle specifically, but I really liked her vibe. So Brianna asked Ashia like what the timeline would have to look like for Ashia to reconsider the situation, as in like how if they had to wait years before getting married or getting a visa or whatever, like at what point would Ashia just give up? And Ashia said she's just not gonna give up at all, which Brianna is surprised by. But then Ashia's mom is also like, yeah, like if it's your person, you don't give up. And I'm like, okay, Juliet, this enabling has really created a monster in your daughter already. Like, you've got to stop.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Someone like Ashia in general only gets that way if their parents are equally as delusional. You know what I mean? I was like,
it doesn't come out of nowhere. I know.
Yeah.
But my highlight of this entire episode was Juliet's negative energy. I love me a chronic complainer. That's why I live in Germany. Everyone here is a chronic complainer. And I love it. And you know what? Actually, side note, sometimes my husband and I, if we go like to a restaurant, we have a bad experience, we get home and we're like, honestly, I'm happy we had a bad experience because now we have something to complain about.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Like if it's all perfect, we're kind of like, well, that was boring.
No meat here.
So Juliet's negativity already starts in the car. They're at the airport. The younger women are unloading the suitcases. And Juliet in the back of the car goes, they just done left me? And it's like they're literally in the trunk getting the suitcase.
What?
I just love people who start shit for no reason.
I love that. I'm so stressed to see her in Nigeria, though. I don't think she's going to take it well.
I'm just so excited to see more of her. So at this point, Ashia asks her mom if she's excited. And Juliet says she will be excited if she gets something to eat.
She's so like one-track mind. She's like one foot in front of the other. I'm not thinking about anything that gives me joy just yet. And
Ashia and her mom at some point are in an elevator, and Ashia starts kind of singing like a prayer song. And Juliet is just praying she'll get food soon.
You know what? Juliet's kind of real. Maybe she's just hangry this whole episode. Maybe she's not even like this normally. She was just really hungry. That's very me-core.
I love it. And so after like multiple minutes of complaining that she doesn't have food, we see her in the food court eating a donut. And Ashia asks how the donut is, and she says the donut would have been better if it was warm.
Oh my God, Juliet. There's something kind of funny about being like, oh, I'm really hungry. Let me get a donut.
Where's the protein?
Yeah, you're going to get a crazy headache.
So now we see Maxwell in Nigeria preparing for Ashia's arrival.
I have to say, first of all, it seems like he lives with his parents, but the house seemed nice. Like, I don't know. I had no idea what to expect with Maxwell, but obviously we've been given hints from production that like he's like a scammer or something like that. But honestly, like, you know, we haven't seen a ton, but the house that he's living in looks nice and like his parents look very put together. And it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, I'll just say.
So I kind of feel bad for Maxwell because he's just talking about how Ashia is always making comments about his appearance and like telling him how to change his appearance. And like, I guess last time she saw him, she said he was too skinny. So he's been trying to bulk up to make her happy. And he did his damn chemical peel to try to improve his skin texture. And he said like when he's falling asleep and his like head kind of, you know, goes down, Ashia will use the opportunity to take pictures of his bald spots.
That's crazy.
That's a lot. Like,
and she's obviously taking the photo and then showing him because why does he know about that? You know, it's almost like an OCD compulsion or something. Why is she doing this?
You know what's funny? I was literally going to say something similar because it's like, you have to know this is not a good behavior. Like at a certain point, like you can't just let the man take a nap without being like, great, a new body part has been unlocked that I can analyze.
Seriously, God forbid once they eventually have sex and she sees his cock and balls, she's going to have some stuff to say, I feel like.
She's even calling Marissa and asking, how did you...
It always cracks me up when you have a partner like this, like Ashia, being hypercritical of their partner's appearance. And I'm like, Ashia, sit down. You're not looks maxing.
I think she's beautiful, but she just is very normal. Like, it's not like she is like a Shekinah from last season where she's like always doing things to her face where it's like you can kind of see that she's applying the same standards to herself. I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. I think even if she was a Shekinah type, it still is not healthy to be applying that to your partner. But at least like it feels more fair or something. It just is weird.
I think it's bad regardless, but at least it's almost like, okay, well, that's how you go through the world so we can follow it. But with this, I'm just like, okay, so it sounds like you just wanted to date someone different. It sounds like you wanted to date someone who had a completely different appearance to them. So maybe you should have just found that person.
Also, like, Maxwell is not a bad looking guy. And even the stuff with his skin, like his skin is just not that bad. It seems like he has kind of acne prone skin, but really not in like a medically concerning or like visually disturbing way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just strange.
I don't mean to be holier than thou, but I just like can't imagine like having a huge issue with my partner's skin to the point where it's like a big topic.
I just feel in general, let's not criticize, especially your romantic partner's appearance. Like, I don't know, or even really bring it up because you're going to make them self-conscious. I feel like if they want to change something about themselves, you can be just supportive of that as long as it's in a healthy way. But you, like, I mean, I have like acne prone skin. I have skin that has taken a long time to get to the point where I'm at now. If my husband ever said anything about that, it would like crush me.
You wake up and he's
like zooming in on
standing over you, taking pictures of your pimples. He's like, "Oh my god,
is this cystic acne?" Yeah. Like, whatever. I think it would really hurt my feelings.
It's hurtful. They reunite at the airport, and it again is that classic thing of which escalator are they coming down?
But he actually didn't see her coming down. I was like, oh, it kind of worked this time.
I know. They were coming from behind. But coming from behind, I don't like that I said that. It sounds bad.
Oh,
cut, remove.
Coming from a different direction.
My favorite part of their reunion at the airport was that Maxwell, after greeting Ashia, went to greet her mom and said, "You are so beautiful." And she said, "Yes, I am."
I love Juliet. And he brought a bouquet of flowers for both Ashia and her mom, which I thought that was very classy.
I thought that was really sweet. Yeah. And then Ashia proceeds to do like a full dermatological exam in the arrivals hall.
Ashia.
He's like, "Look, I did a chemical peel. Are you happy?" And she's like, "You're still breaking out up here." And I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
First of all, it takes more than one chemical peel to see the results you're really looking for. So that's literally normal. But this is a crazy behavior. Like, I don't want to minimize how insane she's being.
No, it really is weird. I also want to know if God is somehow sending a message to her through the pimple formations or something. It's like Braille.
The more his skin is breaking out, the more the devil is slipping in.
Or something. And then the final moment I just loved, they're in the car leaving, and Juliet's in the car complaining that she's hungry.
Girl, why didn't you eat on the plane?
She needs protein bars. I think she just loves to complain, and I truly love her for it. I love a curmudgeon.
She's such a little curmudgeon.
And that's that. Hopefully we'll meet more of his family next week, have more family interactions, and I just hope we get more of Juliet. I love her so much. She's my superstar this season already.
Seriously, I can tell she's going to be throwing out some really good complaints throughout this whole journey. We now have Marissa and Edward, and this was a really interesting episode because we got so much more meat with them, which I really appreciated. Because I feel like up till now we've been like, oh, I wonder what the dynamics are like, and I feel like we got a really good peek into a bunch of different dynamics here.
I agree.
So we start with Marissa driving Edward home from the airport. Just a little thing is that she has a BMW, and he's like, oh my gosh, I've never been in a BMW before. This will be exciting. And she's like, really? And I'm like, Marissa, it's not that crazy. I don't know.
It's not like he said I'd never been in a car before, you know?
Yeah, and we find out later from him that his house in the Dominican Republic.
We always have Republicans on the brain.
God damn it. It's like when I call Lake Como Lake Cuomo in Italy, because I just get them mixed up. God damn it. Having a podcast makes me realize that I don't have a good grasp of...
Fuck.
Lock in.
We'll get there.
Okay, but we find out in this episode later that Edward's house in the Dominican Republic doesn't even have hot water.
I know.
And so it's like, yeah, I don't think he's ever been in a BMW before. Anyway, it's not important, but I do think it like adds to this dynamic that they have. And they pull up to her house in Bluebell, Pennsylvania, and he's like, thinks it's basically like someone else's house. And she's like, no, this is my house. And he's like, what? It literally looks like the Home Alone house. Like it's a very beautiful, stately home. And I think he's excited, which makes a lot of sense. This whole sequence of him kind of like pulling up to the house and going in and like oohing and awing and everything, it really made me feel like this is like a gender bent version of this kind of like princess story or like Princess Diaries, you know? It's like,
yeah,
this is all mine. Like, I loved it. It was so cute, but you don't really see that in a heterosexual couple with it swapped like that.
No, I was thinking it's also very like Pretty Woman in a way.
Yes, absolutely. So we start this kind of interesting dynamic coming from Marissa, which is basically she has a lot of rules for the house and a lot of strict ones. And the first rule is that when they come in the house, she tells him to take off his shoes. And he's like weirdly resistant to that, but he does take them off eventually. It's just a kind of funny cultural difference. I feel like most of the time the cultural difference is that the American is like, wow, would I take my shoes off? So it's kind of funny to see.
Yeah.
Okay, then we get upstairs to the bedroom. We now see them going into the bathroom that's kind of like seems to be ensuite. And Marissa tells Edward basically that it's a huge privilege because she's letting him use the bathroom with her because she made her ex-husband Michael use the other bathroom down the hall.
That I thought was weird.
This bathroom is big. It has like 2 sinks. We find out it has 2 showers. I thought that the 2 showers was crazy because obviously that has to be custom done, most likely by her. But then her husband couldn't use the bathroom with her, so why are there 2 showers?
To be fair, I think one was a freestanding shower and one was a bathtub. Like in some hotels I've been in, there's like a bathtub that has like a secondary shower head, and then there's also a standalone shower.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not familiar with this. And I have been on Zillow almost every day for years. And that it just shocks me that I've never seen this setup before.
I mean, again, it's like, I don't think it's like, I don't have that at my house, but that didn't shock me. What shocked me were the rules. The segregation shocked me.
Right. Right. Because also to get back to the ex-husband having to use the bathroom down the hall, it's just like, damn. So like to brush your teeth, you have to leave your bedroom and like go. It just is like inconvenient. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's so crazy. Like that you, I mean, obviously I'm sure he could pee in the one en suite, but like, I don't know. Something about that is wild to me when there's already double sinks. What's the point? How are you spending that much time in these bathrooms?
Okay, I think it's weird. I agree. But I can also imagine if the husband was gross, like if he's shaving and he's leaving his little hairs everywhere, or he's not putting the toilet seat down or whatever. I could see that having been the order of events. This whole thing made me think of that one quote of Whoopi Goldberg's where someone asked her like why she doesn't date, and she said, "I don't want somebody in my house." I feel like that's kind of Marissa. I think she just doesn't want somebody in her house.
I know.
I will say with this whole thing, maybe I'm a little bit biased in some way because I also run a very tight ship when it comes to the way I want my home to look. So a lot of the things was like, oh my God, she's crazy. And I was like, I don't know. It's been her home that she's lived in for 6 years by herself. Like, I get it, you know?
And she has like young boys. I feel like if you don't run a tight ship, it just gets disgusting. Moving on from this, there's this weird bit where in a couple interview with Marissa and Edward, she says that she doesn't want to have shower sex. Like they're talking about the 2 showers in the bathroom. And they had it a couple times, but she's like, it's the worst type of sex in the world. And he's kind of like, I don't know about that. But she like makes him, she's like, I'm right, say I'm right. And then he just says, happy wife, happy life, right? And I'm like, I don't know. It just, again, I don't think any of these things is like a smoking gun. I just think it's building this picture of like a particular dynamic that I think is interesting.
Yeah, that is fair. I do agree with that. I think that's just the one thing for me that for some reason was like coming up for me throughout this is I feel like sometimes on the show, you'll see things that are just like organically weird. And sometimes you'll see things that feel like a bit manufactured.
Or hyped up.
Aisha speaking in tongues, that's all her.
Yeah.
The production is not telling her to do that. But this plot line, it just, to me, I'm a little bit like, okay, it feels a little amped up by production, let's say. I do, though, also want to say one other thing on the shower sex topic. I'm curious to get your take on this.
What do I think of it?
No. That is between you and God. For some reason, when they talk about sex, it doesn't freak me out as much as when other couples on the show talk about sex. Did you experience that, or were you equally freaked out?
I hated it, but I love that you didn't. That's interesting.
I think because it was more matter of fact, and it wasn't like, if they were like, ooh, shower, let's go have sex right now, then I would be like, no. But they were just like, oh yeah, like we've had shower sex, but I didn't really like it. Like, that didn't bother me as much for some reason. But I was curious if you have the same, or if we have different rules for our prudishness.
I think it freaked me out simply because right after this in the show, they're getting ready for bed. Like they're both in their pajamas. He's in a robe actually. And he's like, oh, I have to show you something. And we obviously know it's his circumcised penis. And she like sits down in preparation. She's like, oh my God, I got to sit down to take it all in or something like that. And he says to her, I'm going to bring that for you. A new penis I give you for you. Didn't love that. And he says to the camera that the first time that him and Marissa had sex, she was like looking at his penis in a certain way and said that it's different. And he said that he felt weird, but he's ready now to be an American because he had his surgery.
I didn't like that.
I did not like, and this is kind of why overall the sex stuff did freak me out, because I was just like, ew, why are we like having show and tell in front of the cameras? And like, do you know what I mean? It's just like so outside of what I would ever be comfortable with that I was like, ew, 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 ew. It was giving me Shay and Annabelle scrubbing down in front of the camera vibes. Not as bad, but just it was in a similar vein that I did not enjoy.
I definitely don't want to be involved. But I honestly blame Shay and Annabelle. I think they've recalibrated what it means for me to see gross sexual content. Seriously, they've single-handedly like lowered the bar so much that now I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't see you giving him like an actual, not even hand job, like scrub.
I also have to say it was interesting basically how Edward is implying pretty outright that he got the surgery because she made him feel uncomfortable for not, or like different for not having a circumcised penis. And we had Marissa actually comment on a TikTok that we put out, I think from the first episode, where we talked about how that seemed to be the implication of the show and that made us uncomfortable. And she said in her comment that that was not the case. Like she didn't feel that way and blah, blah, blah. He just did it because he wanted to. But I'm like, it seems like he's saying the opposite of that.
It does. That also surprised me because I remembered her saying that. And I was like, well, the edit's saying something different. And it could just be they're egging him on. I don't know. But what they're presenting to us is that it was really her choice.
And I feel like it could be a thing where she never explicitly said, oh, please get the surgery or you have to get the surgery. But people aren't stupid. Like you can pick up when someone doesn't like something about you.
Yeah.
And look, if they're both comfortable with it at the end of the day, that's fine. But it does weird me out that your partner would know that you like don't like how their genitals look to that level. I don't know, something about that, it just makes me sad for him.
I agree.
So Marissa, you're welcome to clear it up again, but I don't know if I'm that convinced, to be honest. Getting into something more important, the next day, it's revealed when they're kind of having their breakfast, which is just a protein smoothie, and Edward is like eating it, and he's like, that's it? He's not fucking with the smoothie. But like they go on this little bit about how she asks, oh, do you want milk? And he's basically like, didn't you get enough milk last night and this morning? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm all filled up on milk. And I
didn't like that.
I was like, no. I don't want to hear about the milk that was passed between you two. Any hoodle. So we have this really quick scene in the kitchen that was actually so cute because he goes like turn on the kitchen sink, but it's like this type where you just kind of tap it. And it's like almost like a sensor. It goes off and on. And he's just like tapping it on and off. And he was just like cackling. He thought it was so funny.
So cute. I know.
Kind of reminded me of like Elf when he's like exploring New York and he just has like so much whimsical joy and it's so cute. I know. I find Edward quite charming. I think he's very lighthearted and joyful in a way that I think is a really nice to see on screen. Anyway, so they're going now for like a power walk throughout the neighborhood and like Marissa is fucking fast as all hell. I think she does this every day and he has to literally jog to keep up with her. It's just kind of funny. And as they're doing it, she's like grabbing him when he slows down. It's like, pick up the pace. Like it's very, I don't know, it's kind of like weird. I'm like, give him a break. He just got here. It's probably jet lag.
This was also one thing I did think was interesting here was like her agenda for the day was like assimilate him into her life.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting that like he has to eat her breakfast and he has to do her workout. And like I could kind of get behind the you have to clean the house the way I clean it because like I understand that. But I'm like, does he need to power walk at your pace? Does he like, could he eat a warm breakfast? You know what I mean? Like that I thought was interesting. There wasn't anything of like, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
Yeah. Anyway, so basically they kind of stop and they have a real talk about the whole situation of Edward essentially becoming a stepdad to her children and how her ex-husband kind of factors into that and everything. And Edward tells her that he doesn't want to steal the position of dad from Michael. And like he understands the boundary there and he respects it. And we actually learned from Marissa, like in this conversation, that she had brought her boys to the Dominican Republic to meet Edward. I thought that they had never met before.
I also thought that.
And I'm glad that like they met him in his context. I feel like it's a nice way to start out.
I agree.
And Edward says that it was so fun. Like he loved meeting them on that trip and he's so happy to become a stepdad and he really wants to have a good relationship with them, which is fantastic. Seems like he's coming into this with the right attitude, which wouldn't be easy for most 28-year-olds.
He's 32, but yeah.
Which wouldn't be easy for most 32-year-olds. From the Dominican Republican.
The one thing that did concern me here, I don't know if you're going to say this, but like it's revealed that he did want to have kids. And the compromise, essentially, because Marissa doesn't want to have any more kids. I mean, she's also, 45. And he basically said he had to make the decision. Does he want to stay with this woman that he loves and not have his own kids or be with someone else who he could have kids with? And he chose Marissa. But that makes me feel really worried because it puts a lot of pressure on her kids to like fill that role for him, of like the family he always wanted. And that's the only thing that really gives me pause here is like, I just really don't think it's fair to have any expectations of children to like heal something in you or fulfill something for you. Like the kids are just kids. If you have a good relationship with them, that's a good goal to have. But I think to expect them to fulfill this role of, the kids I always wanted, I think that's really asking a lot of them. And that worries.
Especially when their dad is fully in the picture.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. So in the next section with them, the kids get home from camp, the two boys, and they hug Edward and they have smiles on their faces. They seem happy to see him and he's really excited to see them too. But he didn't come on too strong, I thought. Like he was just like, oh, hey guys, like so happy to see you, whatever. It wasn't like, your dad's home or something, you know, like happily. He did not do that. And Michael is there as well, the ex-husband. And this dude has the weirdest fucking energy ever.
I cannot figure him out.
Basically, he doesn't smile once in this whole section. He's so serious. And one of the boys wants to show Edward his like trampoline skills outside. So all of them go out there. And then Edward gets on the trampoline too to try it out. And there was this really weird interaction that I couldn't fully understand from Michael, the ex-husband, because he's watching it like really stone-faced, like Edward playing with his kid on the trampoline. And Michael says to Marissa, don't forget you said for the rest of your life through thick and thin. And Marissa looks super embarrassed when he says this and tells Edward to stop and get off the trampoline. What the fuck did that mean?
I also didn't understand. I was like, is this a reference to their own wedding vows? But then like they're not married anymore, so the vows aren't valid anymore.
Also, like, it doesn't have anything to do with Michael, so I'm like, what?
I was wondering if it was like he's saying like she's going to make a vow to him through thick and thin and she's like getting the ick from him on the trampoline or something, but I really couldn't understand.
That's what I think happened, but I was like, it was just a really weird, like it didn't eat. Like, Michael, this was like not very good at being shady.
Next time use clearer language so we can follow.
Practice in front of the mirror a little bit because this was unpracticed and sloppy. But I was surprised that it, like, Marissa did look embarrassed. I was like, girl, I didn't even understand what the fuck he meant. Like, why are you looking embarrassed?
Maybe it's like a secret code that the two of them have. I don't know. But I will say one thing that was interesting was there were repeated references to the fact that Edward was the only one young enough to still go on the trampoline.
Like, okay, just say you're jealous. Just say you're jealous about your bad joints. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I felt like Michael was coming across as super hater. I'm like, okay, sorry, you're like literally not fun. It honestly doesn't have much to do with age because you guys also aren't like in your 60s. I think you guys could jump on a trampoline a little bit.
I know.
I don't like these type of people like age themselves so much. I'm like, oh my God, you're so serious. You can't have a little bit of fun. And anyone who is having fun is so immature and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, maybe they just have managed to hold on to a sense of joy in spite of life kind of sucking and like whatever. And you weren't strong enough to do that. Sorry. Be mad about it.
No, I agree. I think I couldn't really get a read on Michael because he said some things I agreed with. And then he was also doing some weird like negging / like psycho games as we discussed.
But he was not very good at it.
No. And then he also kept being like, I'm a fighter, I'm a whatever. And I'm like, well, you're just sitting there. Like, I find it so funny to be sitting there drinking your plastic cup of soda and be like, I'm a fighter. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
Fight him or don't.
It's just a lot of talk that I feel that a person who actually would do that successfully wouldn't have to be advertising.
It was very weird. He was like writing fanfic. He was like, if my boys call me and they tell me that you like slapped something off the table, then you're not getting a text. I'm knocking down the door. And I'm like, okay, sorry, is this something that happened?
Yeah.
Did you invent this?
He's really like creating scenarios in his head. And so, yeah, he says that to Edward, the two of them alone in the kitchen. And Edward is like, yeah, don't worry. Like,
sure.
I'm not, I totally get you. I'm not a violent person. So even when I get frustrated, like, you don't have to worry about me doing something like that. Like, I wouldn't do that. And he's like, I feel like we all have the same goal, which is like to take care of the kids. Like, their happiness is so important. And yeah, you just don't have to worry about me being like a violent or aggressive person. That's my goal here. Same as you. And then Michael, because this attack didn't work about like, you might be violent during a disagreement, Michael now brings up immediately like Marissa's wealthy parents and how he himself never felt good enough. And at first I was like, okay, he's talking like I statements, like this is how I felt because of my own stuff. But then he's basically like, yeah, her parents made me feel that way. And you're going to feel like a poor loser as well. He didn't use those words, but basically. And Edward, to his credit, is like, oh yeah, you know, I've thought about that too. Like I also have those concerns for myself. You know, we'll have to see how it goes. And Michael interrupts him and says, yeah, but who cares? I mean, who cares? You know, you shouldn't care, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he does care.
I'm also like, Michael, you care. You just said that it made you feel like shit and that like led to your divorce. And you're bringing it up because you think that it's going to affect him too. And I'm like, it's just this weird thing where it's like Edward can't win. You know what I mean? Like Edward's like totally like meeting him where he's at in like a really respectful, mature way. And Michael's just like, well, you didn't think about this. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
damn, you like, he just wants to like, I don't know, one up him. But no, like, because I was like, what is Michael doing? This is such a weird like attempt at a mind game, but I don't even get what he's trying to play. And I honestly, the only thing I could think of that explains it, it seems to me like Michael is like talking to Edward as if he's his younger self. He's like, in an argument, don't throw stuff, don't care about Marissa's parents being richer than you and you feeling like they're looking down on you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, is this just stuff that you wish that you could say to your younger self so you didn't get divorced and like probably like ruin your life in a certain way?
Interesting.
Because it just didn't feel like he was actually talking to Edward about anything that really had to do with Edward. It was like his own shit from the past. And it's like, dude, I think we need to go talk to a therapist. Like, I don't think this is Edward's problem to do.
I agree. Yeah, that's an interesting take. I mean, it was definitely something projection related because, like, you're kind of watching this and you're like, who are you talking to?
Yes. That's why that was my only, and again, I don't know this guy, but just given the vibe he was giving off, I was like, you seem like you're just looking for an excuse to be violent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you're like ready to fight him. You've basically said multiple times and you're like, but if you even break something during an argument, I'm going to beat you up. And it's like, okay, it seems like you just want to do that.
Just putting it out there because men fighting or threatening to fight was a theme throughout this episode. Trying to fight someone for your girl's honor or whatever is like the biggest loser behavior ever. Nobody thinks that's cool. Nobody thinks that's honorable.
The only cool thing you could do with violence is if you or someone you're with is like literally being physically attacked and you like do one punch to knock them out and then you like safely get away and like don't like that is the only cool thing you can do.
But don't be out here like throwing the first punch.
No, it's the biggest bitch shit you could possibly do. It's so unattractive and it's just embarrassing on a human level.
And we heard so many people this episode to be like threatening this. I'm like, whatever. Men have issues. I mean, I'm not the first to say that, but
guys, men are a little bit too violent.
Hey, have you heard of this new thing called the male loneliness epidemic?
Seems like it's really getting to them. Anyway, Edward ate the Boots house down because in an interview talking about this whole situation, this conversation with Michael, he says, yeah, the difference between me and Michael is I know who I am.
Period.
And that's right, Edward. And stick to your guns and don't get pressured, which I don't think you will, but don't get pressured by this guy who, as you said, simply just doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
I love Edward.
I know. I really like him too. Next up, we have Mallorie and Raşit. And I do want to say, not that I really want to be out here defending Athens, Alabama, but their section started with some really nasty B-roll of like what are for sure the ugliest spots in town. Like a broken down truck and like some sort of like factory. And I don't know. I thought that was a little bit mean of the producers.
I mean, girl, I don't know because I looked up Athens, Alabama has like a population of like 36,000 people. That might be all that's going on.
I don't think the town highlight is one broken down truck.
Okay, true. They did have like cafes.
Like we saw like the downtown later. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was kind of, I was like, okay. Whoever picked this is the same producer who picked like Shay's introduction starting out with his like knee psoriasis. Like
an op.
So we pick up with Brandon, Mallorie's ex-situationship, being at their house to pick up his pet camera that she was borrowing, and Raşit is being super weird about it. Then they're discussing the fact that there's going to be a party tomorrow. Okay, I don't know what it is with the people in Alabama, but their hospitality always sounds like a threat because Brandon says, quote, we're going to welcome you to the family. Get the official Alabama welcome. Make sure you're hydrated. An Alabama welcome? Doesn't that sound like something that you have to look up on Urban Dictionary?
It means like they punch you in your dick.
And they like pour a beer in your butthole or something. Like,
the funnel goes into your hole. Oh my God.
that actually is a thing, butt chugging.
People need a fucking hobby. Oh my God. Also, sorry, Brandon saying that they want to welcome him to the family. I'm like, are you implying that you and Mallorie are the same family?
Who's family? Well, it's funny. He twice said, welcome to the family. And Mallorie goes, yeah, welcome to Alabama. It's like, she was like trying to like rebrand it.
We're from Alabama, but not in that way.
I always feel a bit bad when I see these depictions of Alabama because, like, I know some really lovely people from Alabama and, like, some of the best, like most nuanced scholars and thoughts and minds do come out of the South. And I like kind of hate seeing it be perpetuated in such like a one note way on TV. Yeah. But like, again, this is what we're being given to work with. We're being shown, you know, people shotgunning a beer and a rundown truck.
Yeah.
So we are going to be shitting at Alabama a little bit, but it's like the Alabama that they're showing us, you know? I always feel a little conscious of that as like a Californian. I don't want to be like, everyone in the South is an idiot. But like, I think these ones might be.
And truly, we can only go based off of the edit. If anyone who is on the show happens to be listening and would like to clear something up, our DMs and our comment sections are open. Like, we're very open to like hearing that and changing our mindset. But truly, if we can't go based off of what is in the show, then we just like can't have a podcast and we can't say anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just have to make an opinion at a certain point. So sorry, Alabama, but it's going to get rough for you this episode.
So at this point, we see an interview with Brandon where he is obviously picking up on Raşit's weird vibes. And he feels like Raşit is disrespecting him. And he says, the one thing I don't do is disrespect.
But wait, why did he feel like Raşit was disrespecting him, just that he wasn't being super friendly?
I feel like he like tried to shake his hand and Raşit kind of like didn't really go in for a handshake. And like, I mean, I think he was just being standoffish. I also thought Brandon took it very personally. But also, to be fair, I think Raşit probably wasn't giving him the nicest vibes.
I think it was personal. So Brandon, you're very socially adept. You can pick up on a vibe.
So now we're back to a classic 90 Day Fiancé conflict, which is the fact that Mallorie has 4 dogs and they sleep on the bed with her.
That's a bit much.
And so the 2 of them are in bed and the dogs are like licking Raşit's face. And like, I love dogs, and even I would be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to sleep if there are 4 dogs licking my face.
And they're not like tiny little chihuahuas.
And then Raşit says in an interview like with Mallorie that God says animals should live outside. So like he's going to be pushing for these dogs to live outside. And I'm like,
well, that's weird too.
That's going to be a tough battle.
Maybe outside the bedroom.
Yeah, outside the bedroom for sure. Outside the house, I don't know about. And then Raşit brings up something related to the interaction with Brandon, which I thought was really fucking weird, which is he says that Brandon is no longer allowed to call Mallorie. And in fact, no man should be calling her because she has a husband. So the men should be calling her husband and he can be like the conduit.
Where are all the people who were like, Raşit is such a good guy. He's giving green flags everywhere. Hey, speak up.
And sorry, when people were like criticizing what we posted about him, saying he has a patriarchal streak, what's this if not patriarchal?
Look, if you are okay with that, fine. You can live your life however you want, but you can't deny that it's there.
And obviously Mallorie's not into it because he's like, can you confirm that you will not have men calling you anymore? And she says no.
Like, girl, what do you mean? You can't. I mean, whatever. I don't need to explain why this is bullshit, but cultural differences exist. They're not always valid just because they're cultural differences. Sometimes they're actually just stupid behavior.
I do think it's important to understand people's cultural context. I think it just helps just to know what's going on. But I don't think we're beholden to other people's cultural rules just because those are their rules, if they go against our morals and beliefs.
Exactly. Like in like the 60s, it was legal and somewhat culturally acceptable to rape your wife. That doesn't mean it was okay. In the US, I'm speaking of. Something being cultural doesn't make it inherently good or even neutral morally. Like things can be cultural and be bad, straight up.
I think this is the flip side of the coin with the American disease that we're talking about, is like people being like, well, it's someone's culture, so you can criticize it. No, you certainly can, in a kind, informed way, criticize other people's cultural context. That's not the same as saying like someone's food is disgusting. I mean, that's not nice. That's not kind. But yeah, I think societies that have weird rules about what men and women are allowed to do, I think that's bad. I don't think we need to follow those rules.
Agreed. And we keep that same heat for our own culture, like for America.
Totally.
So we agree on all counts.
Also, just a small thing, but throughout this, Raşit like keeps calling Brandon Brandy. He just can't get the name. So he's like, Brandy is not allowed to call you anymore.
I felt like it was on purpose. It was like in one of the episodes of Love Island where Melanie kept pretending to not know that girl Kata's name, kept calling her Catie. I feel like that's Raşit right now with Brandon. He's like, Brandy, blah, 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 you know?
So in the next section, they do the obligatory first day in town, going to a coffee shop. They get their coffee and they're chit-chatting, and basically they're talking about the party that's going to be happening that evening. And this was a super interesting conversation. Mallorie tells Raşit there will be some people at the party who have said some, quote, really not nice things about him.
Hey, why are they there?
So I was like, why are they there? And then she says that she told Michaela to uninvite those people. And by the way, we learned that the not so nice things is that they're being Islamophobic and calling him a terrorist. Also, I'm sorry, this is neither here nor there, but I think it's funny when bigots are like not really correct, because I'm like, yeah, Turkey isn't really the country you're thinking of. Like, if you want to be offensive towards a country, like, you're not even targeting the right country.
I know, they're too stupid to function. Also, sorry, like, why are those people even in your extended friend group? I am 100% sure that no friend of friends that I have would say an equivalently racist or xenophobic thing about my partner. Like, I know that for a fact. I understand we come from different places, but at the same time, a lot of it does have to do with like who you choose to associate with.
I agree. This is also something that I think is kind of odd. So she says she told Michaela to uninvite those people, but it sounds like they're still coming. So I'm like, where was the hitch? Did Michaela not want to uninvite them? Did she uninvite them, but they said they're coming anyway? Like, certainly you can ensure they won't be at the party. I just thought it was funny that she wanted credit for telling Michaela to uninvite them, but that didn't lead to the outcome. So I'm like confused about that.
I'm also like, why is the point of this party not to make Raşit feel welcome and safe? Like when Michaela, the friend, kept saying like, we just want to make him feel welcome here. But I'm like, okay, but you're letting people come to your party who literally called him a terrorist because he's Muslim. Do you, like, words have to mean something. You can't just say something and make it true. You have to actually put an effort to make this person feel welcome and not a victim at their own welcoming party. It's fucked up.
I agree. And Mallorie says, quote, it pisses me off that people are so ignorant, just judging you off the bat from where you come from. And she's like really emotional about this. And then she really again clarifies those people aren't her friends and she wouldn't associate with people like that. I'm like, well, you were literally going to be associating with them tonight.
Yeah.
At the party.
Also, they're at least a friend of a friend. Like, why are you associating with them in that way? That's disgusting.
I feel in this moment with the information we have, because look, Mallorie is saying something in this moment that I'm genuinely happy to hear. And if her arc is that she decides that like she really wants to take a stand against the politics that these people have, I would love to welcome her into the fold, you know?
Totally.
But one thing I struggle with is people who want credit for like saying something but not following through with it. Mm-hmm. So like, well, you got to put your money where your mouth is. It's great that you don't think it's good that they're saying that and you're worried about your partner. Okay, why don't you manifest your worry into protecting them from this context? Why don't you literally tell Michaela, I am not bringing Raşit to the party if those people are here.
Yep. That is a really easy thing you could do. I am not
going to be in the same room as those people. Those people are at the party. You go up to them and say, you're not welcome here. Is it because everyone has a gun? Is that why?
Seriously, I'm like, why can't you have a boundary? This is crazy.
And it's, again, she says this quote, which I thought was really lovely. She said, the last thing I'm going to tolerate is some ignorant, backwoods, uneducated motherfucker saying some silly ass shit to my future husband. Love the energy. However, looks like you're tolerating it.
Yes. It's like her talking about, oh, I have friends who are super into the deportations. And it's like, not ex-friends. Like, you can't stand on business in a way that is like crazy. Like, you can't say that you disagree with something, but then not actually have those people face consequences interpersonally with you.
So this is my assumption. And again, these are assumptions. I'm assuming she feels like she cannot prune her friendship tree that much living in this town because there would just be too many people that she would lose, right? Or she would somehow alienate herself, whatever. So to me, you have two options here. One is like, just get out of this scarcity mindset and be like, I would rather have one friend who is a safe, supportive person than a million people who I don't trust to not offend my partner. Like, so I think that's a really noble choice. Or be like, this is my home and this is the place that I want to live. But then do not dare bring a vulnerable immigrant to that community.
Yep. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
And so with her, look, if she has a belief system that's aligned with ours, if she gets there at some point on this topic, I would be thrilled to see that. And I would assume she would be willing to hear our feedback because currently what she's doing isn't sufficient, right? Mm-hmm. And if she doesn't have the belief system, then why are you wasting your breath saying this stuff?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, like, I'm just really curious who she voted for because, like, she's really hard for me to nail down. I think I know, right? But she's a complicated character. She's nuanced.
I agree. So now they are going to the party. I will say on the way to the party, they see a bunch of cows and Raşit is so excited to see these cows and it was really reminding me of Sarper last season.
The only stereotype I have about Turkish men now is that they love animals.
They love cows.
Cows, dogs, cats, they love them all.
Maybe not in the house.
Oh, unless it's a house cow. Sarper loved that last season.
That's true. We need to figure out what the rules are.
No dogs in the house, but yes, cow in the house. It's confusing.
So they arrive at the party and we learn it's a themed party, a white trash bash.
I was happy to hear that this was a themed party because I was like, are people in Alabama actually partying in this like extremely stereotypical way? Like they literally have a chandelier made out of red Solo cups and they have like everyone's in like flannel and like cut off like jorts and shit, like camo, right? You know what I mean? It's so stereotypical, but it is a themed party at the very least.
I was happy to see it was a theme, but I was like, I can only evaluate this if I have a control of what you guys normally look like.
Fair.
Like, honestly, I don't know which elements were themed and which were just them. And I am all for like satirizing and lampooning your own group that you belong to, right? And like reclaiming something, right? Like
Sure.
I could see, I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be. Like
a blue-haired liberal party.
Yeah, like a Portlandia kind of situation where it's like, you know, like, but I think that's tough as a welcome to someone who doesn't know you yet and doesn't know how much of it is a joke yet.
Yeah. I can't laugh if I don't know who they voted for.
First of all, that. But it was kind of a little bit of an undertone I picked up on that was like, these people are sick of being called white trash or made fun of. And so this is kind of them like reclaiming that word.
Sure.
I'm all for reclaiming, but I also find it tough on like not fully marginalized groups are like reclaiming something where
it's not like an oppressed group.
Yeah. So, and again, maybe some of the stereotypes people have of you are due to the fact that you like drive a truck and own a gun and do all that. Like,
yeah,
I struggle to understand like what part of it is the theming, what part of it is not, and like how I feel about this. But I mostly felt negative about this.
It doesn't feel like something that you should reclaim given the current political landscape. There's just way more important stuff going on.
So they give Raşit and Mallorie their outfits for the party. And Raşit has this like mullet wig with an American flag, like skull
bandana.
The thing, yeah. And they are teaching Raşit at this point how to shotgun a beer. And again, they're like kind of acting like it's part of the theme. But I'm like, okay, sorry. When I lived in the South, everybody shotgun beers all the time as at normal parties that weren't themed. And then, like, the kind of main thing that happens at this party is the tension grows between Brandon and Raşit. And, like, Raşit is giving people shots of Rocky. And then Brandon, like, bursts in to give people shots of Jim Beam.
Like, he's like, here's American whiskey. And I was like, whoa.
Okay.
It felt very, like, targeted because Raşit was sharing something from Turkey.
It was weird. So, at this point, Raşit decides to have a man talk with Brandon. And he, like, follows Brandon to his truck to have this talk. And Raşit like sits in the bed of Brandon's truck.
Like honestly looking like he to like be taller than Brandon in the moment because Raşit is shorter than him normally.
And I don't know what the motivation was. It didn't strike me as like an evil thing to do, but Brandon says in an interview, he did the prime thing of insulting a man in the South, of sitting on a man's tailgate uninvited. I'm like, sorry, I never heard of that. That's some shit. What, you know, these people really scare me because I'm like, oh my God, what if you accidentally show a sign of dominance and they shoot you? Like, I don't know what the rules are.
These people are very, and here's what okay, the fact that I couldn't even tell, to your earlier point, if he was saying that like doing a bit like, oh, well, if I'm acting like this traditional Alabama guy, he just did the most offensive thing you can do. I couldn't tell if he was doing that or like genuinely just saying that because that's how he feels in his heart of hearts. And I was like, this is why you guys can't be having this quote unquote themed party that's just like legit how you guys are. Like, it's not, there's no joke then. You're just having a party. It's so weird.
Well, that was my criticism too of like the joke about the Lord's chicken last time. I'm like, sorry, but you actually think it is the Lord's chicken. So that's why it's not funny.
It's why it's not funny. It's like if I had a party where I was like, hey guys, come, we'll all act like reality TV obsessed judgmental cunts from the West Coast. You know what I mean? I'm like, and it's like, wait, there's no one acting at this party.
Yeah. Brandon really escalates. He says that the uninvited tailgate sitting is a sign of dominance. And he isn't the person to do this to because, quote, I choose violence any day.
I feel like these guys were like about to literally fight to the death. It was crazy.
I was like, I mean, definitely Raşit came into this conversation with an energy that was negative, but I don't think you realized sitting on your car meant like you now have to have a duel.
To the death. You know what? I'd love to put Brandon and Marissa's ex-husband Michael in a room together. See who comes out alive. I think Brandon will come out alive. I don't think Michael's making it.
We'll see. I do think Brandon is probably armed. Anyway, this was just weird. This whole segment didn't sit right with me because...
Something very sinister about it.
Yeah. And it was really hard to tell, to your point, like what was a joke and what wasn't. And it kind of felt like nothing was a joke. Like, honestly, until they said this is a theme party, I like didn't realize it was a theme party.
I want to find the names of every single person who was at that party and look up their voting history.
Yeah, and we will.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Definitely some sinister stuff cooking up in this dynamic, and I'm genuinely scared for Raşit's safety.
I don't know if we said this already. I just want to loop back to like, why is everyone defending Raşit so hard online? Like, he's the sweetest guy. He's the most amazing. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that he's a horrible guy. I'm just not getting anything from him.
And I really feel that that's the key because, as some wise person once said on the internet, a crush is just a lack of information. And I feel that what's happening here is everyone is crushing on him because he's good looking and doesn't really talk a lot. And it's like, guys, you only are defending him because you have no idea what he actually thinks or cares about.
And he's cute. I mean, he's cute. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he is actually good looking.
But like, I am just confused by people like defending him as like, he has such a beautiful soul. And I'm like, we don't know him. We don't know him. And I'm sorry, the only things he's consistently saying are like, you can't call men anymore. I'm the man. I'm the husband. Like, it is patriarchal shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you like patriarchal shit, okay. But like, I am confused by everyone being like, what the sweetest, most wonderful, caring guy. Where are we getting all that?
It's also simply that the internet broadly cannot understand nuance. And so they're like, I think a lot of people are looking at what Mallorie is doing, like at the very least bringing Raşit into a town that like is not welcoming to him, which we agree is fucked up. But they look at Mallorie doing fucked up stuff and they're like, that means Raşit is a really good person. Like, she's the aggressor and he's the hero of the story. And it's like, yeah, or they're both weird and have problems and have good stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other.
One thing that I've learned about American culture from living not in America is how uniquely American culture believes that in a couple, the woman should be better looking than the man.
Funny. Think that's an American thing?
I think so, because when I moved to Germany, I found myself surprised by the number of couples where the man was more conventionally attractive and the woman was more like plain looking.
Huh.
And especially, I will say, it was jarring for me after living in the South, where every couple, it's like straight couple, the woman is like wearing a beautiful dress, hair totally done, makeup totally done, looking gorgeous. The man looks like he is stopping at a gas station, convenience store, you know, like bedhead, basketball shorts, slides.
Adam Sandler core.
Exactly. And you're like, what is this, you know? And you would never, ever, ever see a relationship that was the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to Germany, I just remember like the shift from the South, especially to Germany, being like, oh, that's so interesting. That makes me realize how much my eyes were accustomed to seeing couples where women are held to a higher beauty standard, and that is reflected in the way that relationships look. Oftentimes.
Yeah.
We're so often conditioned to see things as like, if the woman is more attractive than the man, it's like, oh, I bet he's funny. I bet he's this. I bet he's that. But like, not in a bad way. I mean, it's more like, oh, like, I bet he's a really good guy because...
It's proof of his virtues that you have no proof for.
Whereas the other way around, it's like, oh my God, I hope she's rich. Or like, what is this about? You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like in this couple, by the way, I think Mallorie is really beautiful. I'm not criticizing her appearance, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of what our society values, I feel like he is viewed as the more like model looking of the two, whereas she's more like a normal person. And I want to just comment on the conversation that's happening in that I think a lot of people are thrown off by their perception being that he's more attractive than she.
Yeah, people hate that. They literally think like if a man to them is more attractive than a woman in a relationship, they think she's like an evil witch.
I think he's being tortured.
Who like tricked him into being in this relationship.
And he's obviously super into her. And like, I think they're well matched, but there's a difference between my opinion and my perception of the public's opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just feel like that's also amplifying things. Like, it's giving him this extra halo effect because people think he's some like angelic person who's being taken advantage of. I don't know, but I'm like, where are we getting all this, you guys?
It's literally just because he's conventionally attractive. I think that is genuinely it.
Whatever. I mean, I just think people need to be a little honest about what their opinion is based on, because people are coming up with a lot of stuff based on literally no evidence.
Because also, if Shay looked like Raşit, people would literally be like, Shay is such a sweetie. He gave Annabelle breakfast breakfast in bed. What more do you bitches want? You know what I mean? Like,
He's so nice. He let her scrub his dick.
like, oh my God, they love each other. They take care of each other. You know what I mean? Like, people get so blinded by a good looking guy.
And we just have to call it out because it's an important part of how people perceive this show.
People really do ascribe like moral goodness to beauty, and especially I think when it's a man that has that beauty.
I agree. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all that I had to say on this couple, but I was surprised by how many like bigger social themes came up for me watching them.
Yeah, I agree. So now we get to Catie and Josh, and they're checking out of the hotel and seeing the new apartment today that, as a reminder, Catie signed on without seeing, which is a good vibe, really thorough. And I will note something that I think is easy to forget because it's been a week for us since we saw them last. The last time we saw them was this same morning in the hotel room where they were both super hungover, especially Catie. And I think that's really important to remember because they're both acting kind of weird. And I was like, why are they acting so weird? And I remembered, oh my gosh, it's that same morning. They're hungover as fuck.
We have known this couple, quote unquote, for what, 5 weeks now?
Mm-hmm.
This is their second or third day together.
That's crazy. They get in the car and it was kind of funny, their vibe in the car, because she seems to be driving, as far as we can tell, pretty normally. They're like on the freeway and Josh looks like he's about to pass out from fear.
He was gripping the handle. I know, I was kind of like, I feel like I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing, but...
And then I was like, why is he being so weird? He literally at one point he's like, can you focus on driving? And she's like, yeah, I am. And he's like, oh my God, that bridge just really freaked me out. And I was like, what is going on? And then I remembered that he's super hungover. Maybe he's like about to puke or something.
Do you know what though? I bet actually.
What?
I think I know it. It's the wrong side of the road for him.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'd be having a heart palpitation for sure.
I was so freaked out, like in a taxi in London, like, we're on the wrong side of the road. Oh, we're not. Like, that's scary. That wouldn't shock me if that was a big part of it.
That is a great point. That would really mess with your perception, and you're hungover and probably jet lagged. I would literally be tripping.
Also, like, you're sitting in what you think is the driver's seat.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be scary. She tells him in the car that while she's driving, he's like gripping the fucking thing. He's already on edge. And she just tells him that she texted her friend Danica about last night and asked if she made out with anyone, and her friend said no. Yay. And then but Danica told Catie that Catie asked everyone to kiss her on the lips before leaving the bar, but no one did. And she's like, oh, were you there for that? Haha, to Josh. And he's like, no, I wasn't there for that. And as a reminder, because again, we heard this all last week, but she got so drunk she didn't even remember like half the night, and she didn't remember coming home and all this. So that's why she's asking if, like, because she genuinely doesn't remember any of this happening, which is so deeply concerning from an alcohol abuse perspective. Josh says that he isn't remotely surprised, but it's disrespectful, which is accurate. And Catie says, quote, my intention wasn't to make out with them in a sexy way. It was just more like asking for a kiss. Catie, what do you mean?
Yeah. We really got to get to the bottom of what this all is.
I feel that Katie's lack of sexual boundaries is deeply concerning to me, especially because she doesn't even seem to recognize when she's being sexual with people. It's really odd.
Yes.
And concerning, frankly.
I agree.
Like, the cheating and all is also obviously concerning, but I'm like, why are you not able to tell when something is sexual?
She mixes a very like childlike nature with a hypersexual nature, which is extremely uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah. I'm not even going to speculate, but this is not normal or I think healthy.
Yeah.
Hey guys, anyone else picking up on this?
Anyone feel like they shouldn't be doing this?
Anyway, Josh in an interview says that he doesn't like when Catie diminishes what she's done and doesn't take responsibility. And like, I have yet for Josh to say something that I didn't agree with. And, you know, I hate to side with a man so consistently, but I am like, yeah.
You know, it's also funny. I feel like for everyone on Reddit being like, what a cuck. It's like, well, literally, he's addressing the behavior immediately. Like, I don't know what else. I mean, I know she has the history of doing it, so I know this isn't the first time it's happening. But I did like that he immediately was pushing back. Like, I don't like that this is being diminished. Like, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he tells her it's disrespectful, and like, but he's not surprised. And yeah, this is tough. So they get to the apartment and it looks good. It's like a modern concrete floor, which might be a little bit echoey, but you know, it's like a modern apartment. It has a cute little kitchen, it has a dishwasher, and it has full in-unit laundry. I was like, okay, Catie, this is not bad. Well done. Well done. The one annoying thing that we see later is that the garage, every time it opens and closes, and they're like seemingly on the second floor, so they're right above it, I think, you can hear this really loud like alarm that it does, and that does suck really bad. But that is also something that maybe you wouldn't have heard even if she had toured it. So I don't know. I feel that this issue is one that maybe is not because she didn't tour it.
I agree.
But it cracks me up because they're like, you know, they get to the apartment and they're bringing in the furniture and they bring in her mattress and it's a fucking twin-sized mattress covered in jizz stains and like hair and dirt. I'm like, Catie,
it's really gross.
What are we doing here?
The thing that confused me about this is like mattresses do get stained. Like even if it's just from sweat or just like use, like over time mattresses do get stained. But I find it funny because I feel like I would only keep a stained mattress if it was like a really expensive, like orthopedic custom, something that I just couldn't bear to part with. This just looked like a random twin mattress from IKEA. I was like, I feel like this could be parted with.
Also, it being a twin mattress pissed me off because I was like, Catie, God damn it. Order a fucking queen at the very least. Do not bring that fuck ass mattress here.
I know. It's like, what was the thinking here? Also, like, poor Josh. Like, I feel like what was revealed is that maybe he was aware it was a twin, but because they have different names in the UK, his understanding of a twin is that twins are two people. So therefore, a twin mattress might also be for two people.
I mean, and you know what? It's a great point. Why is that a single person mattress?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless him. And he's just like, oh, it's pretty small. Okay. And now they're also like, they're unpacking other stuff. And the next thing that she takes to unpack was so fucking stressful. She pulls out like a boxed dildo.
But not just any dildo, like a double-sided strap-on.
Like the type that, for anyone who's not aware, it like, the end of it like goes into your cooter cat and then there's like a penis coming out. So it's like you can like fuck someone with it.
For pegging.
Like looking at the dildo, Josh is like, oh yeah, I know you've been wanting to try this out. And I'm like, guys, I don't need to be here. Can we just save this for when the cameras are not here? I'm getting short of breath.
And I was starting to get a little worried about the consent element here because she kept being like, don't you want to use this? And he's like, I don't know whether that's my thing. Like repeatedly she kept being like, okay, when do you want to try this? And he's like, no thank you.
Oh my God. And maybe they're just joking around and we can't get the vibe, but
is it a joke if you like went out of your way to purchase that and keep it in your storage unit for 3 years?
Girl, it wasn't for him though, because in an interview with the couple, she pulls it out again and explains how it works. And again, asks if, to your point, if he's down to try it, and he's like, no. And then it's revealed that she's used it before. Like the box is open. So
she says, every time I use it, it falls out. He said, it's pre-used.
And she's like, I boiled it really well though. Girl, throw that out.
That is single use only.
Also, no offense to Catie, but like I would never trust her cleaning skills. Like I would have to boil it. I would have to watch her boil it in front of me. You know what I mean? I don't believe that she cleaned it that well, given the state of everything else.
I agree.
So, well, I'm happy that the apartment is not a mess. I really need Catie to not kiss other people or try to kiss other people in front of Josh. Well, not even just in front. You're in a relationship. Don't do it at all. Don't be like a Shay, like, well, he didn't know about it. You know what I mean? Like, I need this to stop.
I know.
And I know this is not the last time because of the season preview.
I also will say something is coming up for me with this pegging topic. I'm sorry to be bringing it back to that. But in the earlier episodes, she was talking about like he's kind of a prude or like he's not as into sex as she is or he doesn't like to talk about sex. And like listening to them talk about this was kind of illuminating for me because I was like, I don't want to assume too much, but it doesn't seem like he's opposed to sex as a concept. It just seems like maybe she's a little bit more adventurous than he is. But also, he was being very British in the way he was like, I don't know if that's my thing. Like, you can just say, hey, no.
Yeah.
Period. And it was just a mismatch. Like, again, I'm not really too interested to speculate on what her pegging experience has been. But
please don't.
This is just what I want to say on the topic. To me, this is the kind of sexual activity that requires even more than just the standard level of enthusiastic consent, like super enthusiastic opt-in. Like, You cannot just be like sticking stuff in people's asses if they're not into it, And I'm just like confused. I'm like, why would that even be something you'd want to like force someone into trying? You know what I mean? Like,
agreed.
You hear of in society situations where in a couple, maybe one person is like not that excited about having sex in a certain context, but they're like happy to do it for the other person.
Yeah, like, oh, the shower sex with Marissa and Edward.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, if he's really into it, like I don't mind trying. I just feel like pegging is not the type of thing that you do in that context. That's what I'm trying to say, you know?
I agree.
Whatever, though. Who knows what they're doing in Portland?
Things work different over there, clearly.
So we are going to close this episode out with a fan favorite, Debby and Mido. I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer. I just want to like make a statement at the top, which is like, I don't find behavior that tends towards abuse funny. I don't think it's funny when people are cruel to their partners. I don't think it's funny when people are really like reactive and angry. And so I have trouble viewing this couple in just like the vacuum of like, haha, funny 90 Day Fiancé, because like I am genuinely troubled by their dynamic. And so like there are funny things. I promise I will pick them out. But I just have to say, like, I can't get behind the just like, oh my God, Debbie's so stupid and LOL, Mido. It's like their dynamic is not healthy. So that feels important to me to say.
Yeah.
But their section starts with them going to a coffee shop and discussing the moving van incident where Debbie was supposed to take a video of him, but she accidentally took a photo and then allegedly threw his phone in his face.
It's so laughable to me. I'm like, okay, name things that didn't happen. Like, what are you talking about?
She's like, I don't understand why you're upset. And he's like, it's because you threw the phone in my face. And she's like, I didn't. I like tossed it onto your lap. And he's like, no. Like, he's like very like aggressive and angry back. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay.
And he says, you didn't see yourself in this moment. And to me, that just read, he knows she didn't throw it at his face. But what he's really bothered by is the fact that she dared get annoyed with him.
Yeah. Mido says that if this happened in Egypt with a girlfriend or fiance, he would leave her immediately.
Okay, then leave.
First of all, leave. But also, like, I don't think that's a healthy thing to say. I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, if she had actually thrown it at his face, yes, you should leave at the first sign of abuse. But it's like, sorry, that's not what happened. Like, so to your point, that's why it's ridiculous.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. And then Debbie basically says like she doesn't want their relationship to be one where she's just like always taking pictures of him and like she doesn't really get why there's always cameras involved. And Mido tries to frame it as he's just trying to get evidence for their green card case. And I'm like, that's not what this is. You twirling around a lamppost in your leggings is not for the embassy.
I would like to say a couple things about this. First of all, it's not an embassy. You're in the U.S., so it's immigration. That doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there.
First of all,
be accurate. Secondly, immigration doesn't accept videos. So the fact that it was a photo is actually more convenient for if that's really what you're doing. Thirdly, all of the photos he's asked her to take, photos and videos, are solo. She's not in them. They don't give a fuck about you being in a truck in New Orleans. They want pictures of you guys together. What are you talking about? It's just like total bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm like, literally, he's just fighting for fighting's sake. And also, his eyes are bugging out of his head when he's saying this. He's like, and I'm like, he is like tweaking.
That's what I wanted to say too, is that he frames this whole like embassy thing as like, well, what should we tell the embassy if we don't have any photos? And then he immediately goes, answer. And his eyes are like huge, bugging out of his head. I'm like, what the fuck?
He looks like, did you ever watch the Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Like the Pee-wee Herman movie?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, deep cut. Well, if you're my childhood best friend and adult best friend, Georgia, you will relate to it. Reminded me of that one scene where the truck driver has the eyes pop out of her head. Fucking scariest shit I ever saw when I was 5 years old. That's a deep cut. And when you've seen that movie, you had that trauma. Just, it was that vibe to me.
Well, thank you for sharing that with the group.
Relatable.
Thank you for being vulnerable. And anyway, Debbie says like with the whole thing with the van, at the photo, she was tired. Which, yeah, she was tired because she was doing all the labor with moving.
Literally. And
Mido says, that's not an excuse. I will be angry again. So that's enough. And like, he's legitimately scaring me.
Yeah. And he just, any chance he has to like get her off balance and to feel like she owes him, he's going to take. Right?
Yeah.
That's what his main goal here is, to just get her in that mindset that he's the victim and she owes him kindness.
I think his dream situation would be to guilt this woman so much that he convinces her to buy him an apartment in LA that he can live in by himself.
Yeah. And he's like, it's because I'm mad at you. And I guess this will help a little bit. But can it be in West Hollywood, especially? Maybe the apartment?
Oh my God. He moves into Sean's house. Sean from last season, who lived in West Hollywood. Anyway,
Deep cut.
Mido now also says in an interview that Egyptian culture / the Quran says that women should respect men. And Debby wasn't with a man for 20 years, and I think she needs to learn.
Hey, I think you need to suck on these nuts, Mido.
It's just, again, this thing where it's like people imposing their culture, and it's just like, you need to obey me. And it's like, no, she doesn't. Like,
also, it, again, to our point earlier, it being cultural doesn't make it right.
Yes.
If this is even cultural. You know what I mean? I'm like, sure, maybe.
And Debby says that they both have tempers. She's like, you have a temper, I can have a temper. And Mido's like, well, if you have a temper, then I'm going to go home.
Okay, do it. Rules for thee, not for me.
Honestly, I think he's really just trying to get rid of her in a way where he can stay in America. Like, I really think that's his goal here.
I don't know the logistics of getting a divorce when, like, you've just gotten married and gotten a green card, but could he be building a case for a divorce in which he can be like, she's abusing me, so I get to keep my green card?
If he is smart enough to be playing that strategic of a game, I think, yeah. But I don't know that he is.
I don't know if that's how it works, but that's like my best theory, because I otherwise just really don't even get this, even from like a cruel perspective. I'm like, what's the goal here? Like,
I don't want to be criticizing people's level of English, but one thing that was kind of funny for me was he is like trying to be very threatening, but his there's a linguistic blocker where the words coming out of his mouth aren't threatening because you just don't understand what he's saying, but his tone is very aggressive. So like, yes. For example, he said, I'm not judge you. That's okay. It's over. You know now what you did with me. And this is the last time talk about anything you will make me mad from you. You should to know.
In my notes, I literally say his English is so bad, but he basically tells her to not piss him off again.
Yeah, I guess. And she's like, I'm sorry. But I'm like, if you were saying those words to me, I'd be like, wait, are you mad at me? I don't know. Like,
I would also be like, wait, did you break up with me? It's over?
Could you recap that? So it's just kind of funny because he's like not even compelling at being scary because like you're kind of like, huh? Then this continues with a couple fantastic quotes. Debby basically says that she's really trying to explain the bigger issue for her, which is she doesn't want to be his fan. She wants to be his wife.
But that's so funny to me because I'm like, Debby, that's not the bigger issue here. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know, but for her.
Yeah, like I get from her perspective, but I'm like, not quite, but okay.
But look, I commend her for like trying to communicate something. The
Sure.
bar's low for, so okay. And he says, it's no problem to be my big fan.
He's like, that's the only thing I like about you, actually. So if you stop doing that, why would I stay with you? He's
like, my wife should be my fan and support me. And then like he segues back into this whole thing of like, you should be happy that I have dreams.
Why? I don't even get that. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess it's, like, of course you want your partner to have a passion and like a drive in life, but like it doesn't specifically have to be like, I want to be a big movie star. Why should she be happy that that's specifically I don't know, it's so weird.
I know, I feel like maybe she could be happy if his dreams are being realized, but just the having of dreams is not
I think we all do.
That impressive. I know.
Yeah.
And she says in an interview that it like kind of worries her that all he talks about is acting. Yeah. Same. And she's like, I also have dreams. My dream is to be happily married. And I'm like, well, then you are barking up the wrong tree. I'm so sorry to tell you.
Sorry, queen.
And then we end with a new little pre-conflict, which is Debby tells him that she wants her ring. So I guess she never got a ring from him. And he says, you want your ring? Soon, inshallah. And she says, very soon, inshallah.
Kind of ate.
She ate with that.
But I don't get, unless the thing was cut out, I was like, what the fuck difference would a ring make, Debby?
You would be surprised.
True. Remember Shekinah at the tell-all? That changed everything for her.
A lot of people put a lot of value into having a ring.
But they're already like engaged. I guess I get it in the sense of like, oh, I won't have kids unless there's a ring involved. Like meaning like we're engaged or getting like we are married. But it's like you've already made that agreement. It's just jewelry. Like that's not changing. I think it's fine if you want to have an engagement ring, of course, but like that doesn't change the argument you're having.
I agree, but we've talked about this before and I'll say it again. One thing that I have always thought is that getting married is something that people do for one of two reasons. Either their relationship is at a point where marriage just feels like an appropriate label to slap on it, or they want to be at a point where marriage would be an appropriate label and they feel that by putting the label, it will get them to that point.
Woof. Yeah.
And I think those tend to be the kind of people who over-index on having a ring or whatever because they think walking down the street with a big diamond on their finger will make them be in the kind of relationship where he loved you so much that he wanted to buy you the nicest diamond, or I don't know. I mean,
right. It gives your relationship like credit and legitimacy.
Yes. And I think it like gives her something to show for it. Look how much he loves me. He bought me this. Right. Whereas ideally you're in a relationship where your friends and family are able to see how much the person loves you just based on their love for you. And a piece of jewelry is irrelevant.
Yeah. It's like a cherry on top. It's not the whole cake.
Yeah. But I do kind of feel like that's the thing that's happening here a little bit.
I agree. Well, inshallah, they break up
very soon. Yeah. So this is just one where it's like, I don't know. I know people love them and like they have funny moments for sure. But I feel like we've reached the bulk of what this is. He's not into her. He's using her to get to LA. Okay. I don't know. Like I almost wonder like what more there even is to see with them.
Here's my thing, though, is I do feel that Debby has a capacity for fighting back. She just hasn't unlocked it yet with him. I hear what you're saying about like that he's being straight up like a terrible person and like in many ways probably abusive. He's at least soft launching like manipulative and controlling behavior for sure. Mm-hmm. They don't have a good dynamic. That said, I'm still very entertained by them. I really am. Like, I feel like because she's older, she has like a good life in every other way that it seems, at least like stable and happy. And it's like, it's just this one part of her life where this guy is trying to take her for a ride. And I believe in my Debby. I might be proven wrong, but I feel at the very least, even if they do end up getting married, I don't know, but if they do, I feel that she will stand up to him eventually. And I hope she like humbles him a bit. I don't know, though. I could be delusional as well. I thought that Kamala was going to win.
I would love to see that. The one thing that I'm getting from her a little bit is she has on multiple occasions said, like, nobody walks all over me, or like, I don't, blah, blah. And then like in the next scene, she like lays on the floor and is like, hi, I'm the rug. Please walk all over me. Like,
that's true.
And it's like, okay, this is like a very specific deep cut, but have you seen those TikTok videos of people making fun of like a hyper specific, what's the word? Like hometown pride, where people will be like, I'm from Garden Springs and you don't want to fuck with a Garden Springs girl, you know?
Yes, I love those.
I kind of feel like that's Debby's energy a little bit, where she's like, you don't want to mess with me. And then I'm like, okay.
Do something.
And so I'd love to see what that looks like in practice. And I guess this is the thing that is tough for me personally with Debby. I agree with you. The power dynamics have been worse in the past, could be worse. But I find it hard to watch what I perceive to be true delusion.
Yeah, she is delusional. I can't forget that. So I'm going to try not to like project my own sense of logic onto her because she hasn't shown evidence of that.
The only thing I'm trying to grapple with in my brain is I've seen people on the show before who are delusional, many of them, and I've not felt the same sense of sadness for them. So I think maybe part of it is that she's delusional and seemingly kind. Like some people are delusional, but they're like kind of nasty or like something. So they kind of have a bad attitude and they like, so you can kind of find some satisfaction in then like getting what's coming for them.
Sure. It's like your grandma falling for a phishing scam and you're like, dude, come on.
I know. And it's hard to really even offer full sympathy for, knowing that like it's seemingly obvious to the outside, you know, but like the really doubling down, it's just like, just find it sad. I don't know. Like I wish I could be more like funny and upbeat about it, because like, look, there are funny elements. We'll call them out when we see them. But overall, I'm just like, oh my God, Debby, like, I hope you're okay. Like the amount she's willing to derail her life for him worries me. Like, you know what? Like, for example, I can appreciate if Marissa is not really willing to derail her life for Edward. If it doesn't work out with Edward, I feel like she's going to go back to how things were before.
Yeah.
I feel like Mido has the capacity to truly devastate Debby's life, drain her resources, convince her to move away from her friends and family, completely mess with her head. I don't know. And like just the fact that we've seen her, even the fact that she's like, I'll change my outfit when you tell me to. It's small things, but I feel like it starts small. And I literally feel like he has the capacity to like completely fuck over her life. And then people won't even, her community won't even really be there for her, because they'll all have a feeling of, well, we did tell you so.
Yeah.
That's my worry with Debby.
Oh, Debbie, don't let it be so. Well, on that note, looking forward to seeing them next time.
Well, that concludes our recap of this week's episode. As always, thank you so much for tuning in.
Please make sure to follow us on social media at My Best View Pod. And most importantly, please make sure you're subscribed to us wherever you're listening right now, whether that be Spotify, Apple, something else, YouTube. Let us know where you're listening. But make sure that you're subscribed. And please, please, please give us a rating. We really, really appreciate that. Send us to any friends or people you would like to also become obsessed with the 90 Day Fiancé universe and by extension, our voices. We welcome you all. And we'll see you next week.